No, obviously it's a fine line. You know, we've been very successful with Kev at the 5, but we have to listen to what Kev needs as well. You know, so if there's times throughout the postseason or the game where he's feeling like he's a little worn down because he's battling with a lot of bigs, then we got to, make the substitution properly.
Cavs are sticking with Love as their starting center. Is that God's plan? The Jazz started from the bottom, but how long will they stay here? Embiid tells bandwagoners, no new fans. That's right, Toronto, we here. Welcome everybody to the 6. We are up north for what has turned into a crazy, pivotal Game 2 between the Raptors and the Cavaliers. I am Rachel Nichols alongside Toronto aficionado, insider Zach Lowe. And of course, we've got now, by the way, Northeast Ohio zone, Brian Windhorst. He's going to be joining us outside a little later. But the man who has spent plenty of time on this very court, right. Mr. Tracy McGrady.
Yeah. Feels good to be back where it all started. Great memories in here.
I was going to say, what was your biggest game you played in this building?
Actually, it was the first year that we made the playoffs. I mean, it was first playoff series in franchise history, and this place was bugging. You talk about a team that really had to bring our fans along with us because it was a hockey town. And by the time we made the playoffs, I mean, this place was unbelievable in terms of the energy. And
it's still amazing. I mean, we see that Jurassic Park outside and all of that stuff.
Of course, it's enhanced now. I mean, it wasn't that back then.
And you've been up here plenty, Zach. You spent a lot of time with us. Absolutely. And look, you played in a lot of games, Tracy, that did have big importance. But this game tonight, we were just talking before we went on the air, this is on a whole other level. We're going to show you why.
So is it too soon to call this one of the most pivotal games in Raptors history? Yes, or actually no. Because this core group in Toronto, spearheaded by Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, coached by Dwayne Casey, well, they are inarguably the most successful group this franchise has ever had. Yet each time they've gotten even close to the promised land, they've been shut down, often specifically by LeBron James. And it hasn't been close. Not really. Sure, there was the conference finals 2 years ago that went 6 games. But if you go back and watch it, there's a lot of Cavaliers boredom and sloppiness there that makes you think if Cleveland had really buckled down, it could have been a sweep. Last year, it was a sweep. And plenty of folks up here wanted to just tear everything apart, go back to the bottom of the mountain and try to rebuild with a stronger foundation. Instead, the Raptors brain trust picked a different approach. Instead of ripping up the roster, they ripped up the playbook, radically changing their systems and swapping out role players to fit their new style. This took no small amount of work. Players spent hours in the gym honing their outside shots. Team practices became grueling marathons to retrain old habits. And then they took the show on the road, game after game, from New York to Memphis, from Portland to Miami, and back again, trying to hone it all. Nearly a year spent trying to prepare for this one moment when it came around again. And when it finally did come around, well, they snarfed it. There's really no other way to describe Game 1, when Toronto missed 12 straight shots down the stretch to let the Cavaliers steal a win in overtime. And if the Raptors somehow blow Game 2, or even if they don't blow it but just flat out lose it, I mean, down 0-2 heading back to Cleveland, we all know how that ends. And then, does this whole era of Raptors basketball, this most successful ever era, does that end too? Could you justify keeping this team together if they collapse that epically again? As for Cleveland, well, you could say this game doesn't matter quite as much. Certainly the Cavs could just be happy with the split and go home. Except every game this team plays this postseason is crazy important, because it's not just a fight to advance, but to keep LeBron James from leaving in free agency. It is hard to see LeBron staying in Cleveland if this team gets tossed in the second round. But if the Cavs can get up 2 games tonight, turn this into a quick series, maybe even get a little rest before the conference finals, well, all of a sudden the hope of getting back to playing for a trophy in June looks a lot more promising. So yeah, this game matters. Everyone has something to play for. We'll just have to see who plays bigger when the moment arrives.
So huge stakes tonight, guys. Tracy, how do you think the Raptors are going to respond coming in tonight? Because for the last 24 hours, they've said the right things. They've said they're not too in their heads, that, hey, we got good shots, we just got to make them. Do you buy any of that?
I buy it. If I'm a player, especially after game one, what transpired, I'm going back. We're looking at film, and I feel good about my chances in game two. I'm encouraged. You talk about a team that missed 12 straight shots down the stretch and had a chance to win the game. LeBron didn't quite, play well to his standards, but I think they did a great job defensively on him. And they only lost by 1 point. So they should feel encouraged, come back. They got to tweak their game plan just a little bit. I don't think they could allow Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, and those guys to get the wide open looks that they get. They got to just let LeBron go for 40 and kind of hold those other guys back, because the problem is if you let LeBron get 25, 30 points, 13 assists or whatever, and those other guys are making shots, you're not going to win the game. So you got to pick your poison. I think they'll do a better job tonight.
So he just explained what a normal team with no baggage or history, how they would go into a game too. You've spent so much time around these Raptors. Do you think that they're going to be normal the way he explains?
They're never normal. They'll never be 100% normal. But I think they're okay. Yeah. Like, I was at their practice yesterday. I talked with some of their guys off the outside of their media sessions. They seem legitimately okay. Now, they have some structural issues in this series. Like, if the Cavs are going to start Kevin Love at center, that's going to be hard for Valanciunas, and I don't think the Cavs exploited that quite enough in game one. I want to see the Raptors come out and play fast and loose. In that first half, when they got the lead, they were pushing after every miss. Lowry was running into trail threes, and then they got lured into a slow half-court Cleveland kind of game, and they can't win that game.
Right. And look, everyone talks about if it's tight in that third or fourth quarter. What do you guys feel like the mentality is going to be of a Kyle Lowry, of DeMar DeRozan? Because we've just talked about how big the stakes are. They know if they lose this game, you're not just talking about, hey, it's very unlikely you could win the series. But if you go on and get kicked out in the second round, this whole era of Raptors basketball is, there have to be major changes, right, Trace?
Yeah, these guys have to attack. They can't hold back. And a lot relies on these two guys. You can't really just rely on your bench guys to carry you. If it's close in this game, those two guys, being the leaders of this team, I look for them to take over this game, be more assertive on the offensive end. Kyle has to do a better job of attacking, especially when LeBron gets on him. You can't be passive. Go at him right away and try to get fouls on him. Try to draw. Because I feel you could get past LeBron. Just make plays, the right plays, and don't be so careless with the ball.
LeBron is just so much bigger than him, though. Like, if he gets past him, LeBron is going to get ready to block his shot from behind. But I thought Kyle made a good point at practice. He said, I can't. It's not just he passed up some shots,
right.
But he said, I got to keep running around. I got to make him run around screens. I got to, even when I don't have the ball, I got to make him run and then maybe get him switched off me. So there's stuff they can do. DeMar will shoot. To your original question, DeMar will shoot. I don't worry about DeMar. Kyle, with LeBron on him, I think he got a little freaked out, and I want to see how he responds in game two.
Man, this is fascinating tonight. I do want to talk about the Utah Jazz, though, because, wow, that was a performance last night. What do you think, Zach, of the way? Do you think that they have figured something out in this series against the Rockets?
I think they've figured a couple things out. Number one, when we have a chance to run, even if it's against our nature, we're the slow Jazz, we like to pass it 14 times before we shoot. We got to run. When James Harden misses at the rim, that means there's 4 Houston guys underneath the foul line. We got to run. And they started to really attack Houston switching really smartly. They had their guys slip screens instead of sticking around to set them. And so they got in motion before Houston could even switch. I think the Rockets were kind of surprised by that.
Well, I tell you what, the coaching that I've seen, from Brad Stevens and Quinn, it's just been unbelievable. These guys are doing a great job from game to game with their game plan and making adjustments. And I saw the adjustments, especially in the first half. I don't think Utah could have played a better first half than they played. That's what really got those guys going, getting open shots. I think, Donovan did a better job of attacking and kicking out to his shooters. He wasn't scoring the ball, but he was making the right plays, and Ingles was making shots. The young guys coming off the bench, was Exum and what's the other guy? Burks. Those guys gave him quality minutes, and that's what they're going to have to do. The way they was defending James in the first half was phenomenal as well. They wasn't allow him to come off of that pick and roll. Has always had a body on him and made him see bodies.
Exum was great on Harden.
I was just so impressed that when Houston sort of came back into it and gave them that big wave, that the Jazz didn't freak out or give up on the road, that they had the mentality to withstand it. And again, led by a rookie. You know,
throwing passes to himself off the rim.
The maturity of this
incredible.
kid is off the charts. It is so impressive. All right, so what do you see going forward here?
Well, I mean, they're comfortable at home. You know, those guys, the crowd, the energy that they get from their crowd, and the execution that these guys have, they're going to play faster. I'm sure they figured that out, that they have to play faster. And I just defensively just stay solid. James is the motor for this team. If you keep James off the free throw line and don't allow him to get going beyond the arc, they're going to get themselves a great chance to win.
Houston's better. Houston should win the series. I think Houston will win the series. If they lose game 3 and they're down 2-1 after 65 wins and Chris and James worked really well together all season, they're down 2-1 facing a 3-1 deficit. The noise is going to be really, really loud.
Houston
so game 3 is big.
But, I mean, Utah is getting better.
Utah's good. Utah, I mean, they lost
really
like 5 games after the All-Star break. They're good.
Yeah, and look, Donovan said he watched Kobe Bryant's detail show on him twice. Got all the tips. So apparently, look, he's set for the rest of the series. We have some Russell Westbrook conversations to have when we get back, so stay tuned for that. But first, I want to show you our distant replay. That's this date, 1993. Take a look.
Charlotte Hornets have become the first of the recent expansion teams to win. X-Man with a hand in the face. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
Might feel like up here in Toronto if the Raptors lose this game. There is so much buzz in the city. We moved outside because this is Jurassic Park behind me. There's going to be people starting to fill in over the next few hours, and the crowds out here, it gets crazy, and you will see that during our game broadcast tonight on ESPN. But we promised you some Russell Westbrook talk. I want to show you what the Thunder GM, Sam Presti, said just yesterday in the exit interviews.
One thing I can tell you about Westbrook is he's driven, okay? He's going to keep coming. And, you know, for our team, one of the things that I think he's focused on trying to do is become a better three-point shooter.
All right, so Sam says that Russell Westbrook is focused this offseason on becoming a better three-point shooter, which, Zach Lowe, I think is the opposite of what you want to hear. Is that right? You wrote a big piece on ESPN.com about the Thunder's Russell Westbrook problem.
If he's going to take 7 or 8 a game, he might as well try and be good at it. If he's going to shoot 30% or 29%, then that's probably too many shots. So I don't mind him trying to become a better three-point shooter. The general issue is he just shoots way too much. He shoots 4 or 5 shots too many a game, and we're going to see how that impacts Paul George's decision-making. But you don't think so? You disagree. You're all right. 43 shots with the season on the line. You're good.
I completely disagree with you. Reason being, I think this is a personnel problem. First of all, I mean, I would love for Russ to improve his three-point shooting. I mean, if he improves on that, then he's virtually going to be
a game changer.
It's a game changer for him and his team. But for me, I think I always go back to how they structured the team around Allen Iverson. How Billy King structured that team around Allen Iverson. You got to have those type of players around Russell Westbrook. He's that same type of player. I want Russ to play like he plays aggressively. I think if you hold him back, you see what happened this year. I mean, when you hold Russ back, he's not as effective. When he started playing aggressively in these playoffs, you know, taking those 30 shots a game, they were winning ball games, and they were in the game. I want him to play that way. I don't want him to hold back.
I don't think it has to be a sea change. I just think it's 4 or 5 shots a game that are just objectively bad shots. You just run up and take a 22-footer. But Allen Iverson didn't have a Paul George. There was no Paul George on the best Sixers teams that got to the finals.
Allen Iverson couldn't play with Paul George. That's my point exactly. He couldn't play with him because Paul George needs the ball as well.
So do you think Paul George should stay with the Thunder? He's got a big decision to make.
I don't think he should stay. I just think that chemistry is just not. It's not good. It's not good unless Billy Donovan finds some way to utilize Paul George in a different way, like Chris Paul, Mike D'Antoni does with Chris Paul. You know, James and Chris Paul really doesn't play that much until really the fourth quarter. So if he can find some way to work that out between Paul George and Russ, if he stays, then yeah.
I do think that is part of the model. I think Paul is a really good fit next to Russ. It just in terms of he's not like an option one, just give him the ball.
Right.
He likes to come off screens. He does need the ball more than he got it, but he likes to play the way some of the actions they ran for KD, they can run for Paul George. But I do agree, like, the roadmap for them is what Houston did, which is if you have a second star on the team with Russ, who's going to shoot 1,000,000 times a game, take him out after 4 minutes, bring him back in with Russ sits, and separate them as much as possible. Let them both just go crazy.
So would you guys say the OK3 experiment worked or didn't work, or by the virtue of the fact they got kicked out of the first round of the playoffs, it just didn't work?
I think it's really hard to tell, being that it was their first year. I mean, you saw flashes of how good they could be. Now, defensively, they were a really good team in the regular season. Offensively is just where the challenge was, and I just think they couldn't figure that out, in year one.
Well, their defense fell apart when Roberson got hurt. OKC, I guess Carmelo is the third guy in OKC 3. Yeah. Well, given that by the end they were better with Jeremy Grant on the floor than Carmelo, then I think the OKC 3 failed.
Well, I think in the exit interviews yesterday, it started being, Russ, Paul George, and Steven Adams. It was sort of almost notable how much people were making them maybe the OK3. I don't know. Carmelo obviously has a big decision to make, and it seems like from listening to Sam Presti yesterday that they're going to be very clear with him. If you want your $28 million, you're going to have to agree to a different role, and we'll have to see if Melo does that. I don't know.
He's not opting out.
That's a polite way of saying maybe decline your $28 million player option.
I don't think that they want to both overpay him and have him be discontented.
Right.
And I should say, Carmelo Anthony, when he was in an extremely difficult situation in New York, was a pro.
True.
This year, when I know he was not happy with some of the way his role changed, was largely very professional. You just saw his frustration at the end. I'm curious to see what he does. I kind of have to agree with Tracy, though. I don't know anyone who's turning down $28 million. I just don't. All right, I want to get to the Phoenix Suns because the Jazz assistant, Igor Kokoskov, did I do that right? Or you're my
that was pretty good.
Resident expert on such types of names, has agreed to become the Suns head coach. Do you guys think he made the right call?
I think he's a great hire. It's a groundbreaking move for the NBA to have a European-born head coach, and
first head coach who's born outside of North America.
And his resume speaks for itself. He was on the 7 seconds or less Suns toward the end, and then under Alvin Gentry later. I believe he's undefeated as the head coach of Slovenia, who just won Eurobasket. Luka Doncic is Slovenian and knows him very well. This could be a tell on who they're going to pick in the draft. Every player who's played for him internationally and here swears by him. I think it's a great hire.
I don't know him. Hopefully,
the idea, though, of a European coach, someone with thinking who grew up outside of the NBA.
No, this is good. It's, like you said, it is groundbreaking. He obviously has a lot of knowledge for the game of basketball, and we'll see what he does on the NBA level. It's totally different from the European play, so we'll see. It's
so interesting because the thought was that if the Suns do hold on to that top spot in the draft, we'll have to see what happens in the lottery, but they have the best odds. Hey, DeAndre Ayton, he's rated on a lot of people's boards as number one, played just right down the road of U of A, and Ayton's already talked about, hey, me and Devin Booker, we could be like Shaq and Kobe all over again, it'd be great. Well, now they hire Igor, and he has so much experience with Luka Doncic, and you would think that he would be able to ease Luka right into an NBA system. Do you think that this coaching hire, Zach, should influence who they draft?
It should have some influence. Maybe it's 20%, 5%. It can't have no influence. But, we'll see how the lottery goes, right? I mean, the team with the pole position has rarely won because the lottery is crazy and absurd and random. So let's see how it goes first and where they actually pick.
I just hope that, they're extremely confident in his hire because I think there are other better candidates out there that was available for the head coaching job for the Phoenix Suns. So I don't know. I'm standing by and see what types.
You good? We stream live games, binge our shows, and we replay the replays. We're just two best friends that can't get enough sports.
Count it up, count it up, count it. Can't take it when you die, but you can't live without it.
I've always wanted to go back to school, but getting a degree feels complicated now. I don't know if I can fit into my life like I did before. And I think about all the new jobs out there, and everything's moving so fast. I need a degree to help me further my career, but one that is worth my time and money. And I'm ready for the next step and to make sacrifices. But I want a university that believes in me the way that I do.
Here at Maryville University, we stand for those who are brave. We've been bravely revolutionizing higher education for those striving to achieve for nearly 150 years. We're developing degree programs in partnership with the businesses that will employ the leaders of tomorrow. Now, we're bringing this high-quality education online, so you can study anywhere at any time. The future belongs to the brave. Let's be brave together. Learn more now at maryville.edu/online.
Game 2 of Cavs-Raptors tonight on ESPN at 6 o'clock Eastern. It's an early start. You are going to want to be in front of your TVs because this is such a huge, pivotal game. It's why the Jump is up here in Toronto. You can see Jurassic Park behind us. This is going to fill with fans over the next couple hours. It is rare in a series like this to have a game so early, Game 2, that could seriously affect the fate of both franchises if Toronto doesn't win tonight. And Toronto fans are already upset, guys, because the last 2 minutes report came out from the NBA late yesterday afternoon, and they upgraded Kevin Love. You see him swinging around these elbows. They upgraded that to a flagrant 1. Now, this was not reviewed during the game. A lot of Raptors fans feel just a minute to go would have changed the course of the game, except here's what else was on that last 2 minutes report. It also said that DeMar DeRozan fouled him prior to him swinging his elbows. If the whistle had blown as he was trying to wrestle free from DeMar, then presumably if he heard the whistle, he would have stopped doing this and we never would have gotten to the elbow. So, Brian, when you
good
hear
luck
that,
selling that out here in about an hour, Rachel. But you said that beautifully, but good luck selling it. The first rule of the 2 minute report is you have to read the whole 2 minute report. The thing about it is that foul on DeMar was not reviewable, but had the officials chosen to review, they could have called the foul on Kevin Love for the flagrant. And what is driving the fans crazy here in Toronto is that they didn't even review it. Right. That DeMar is basically clearly got hit. Trust me, it got shown in the arena, and the fans screamed. They screamed about it. They were so angry about it. So that's what the anger is. How could they not review in that situation? The review is designed for that play, especially since LeBron is known for, after receiving any sort of major blow, laying on the ground and waiting for the, sort of like with the side of his eye, waiting for the officials to go to the scorer's table to make sure that he gets up. So I kind of, like, while I do think that the Raptors ended up with the ball, so I think in fairness, everything worked out. Like, it was net fair because it should have been Cavs' ball. The Raptors got the ball. I totally get why the Raptors fans are upset.
They should be. I mean, let's say they did call the foul on DeMar DeRozan. That still is a flagrant foul. I mean, the elbow still would have happened.
But you're a player. Once you hear the whistle, you stop struggling free, don't you?
It's probably so loud in there you probably can't hear it. So
I don't
I'm going to give them the
believe
benefit of the doubt. But anyways, no, that should have been a reviewable play. So the Raptors lost by 1 point. This is 2 free throws and the ball if a flagrant 1 is called, right?
Yes, but if the original foul had been called, Kevin Love would have gone to the line. See, I think this is still the way things worked out.
With the elbow swinging. Well, I mean, it's just
if there's a whistle, I don't think he keeps swinging the elbow. I mean, he was swinging the elbow because
fair in love and basketball.
It happens so fast, Rachel.
All's fair in love and basketball. Ultimately, the karma worked out. The Raptors got the ball.
Right. I don't know.
No 2 free throws.
But Kevin Love could have had the 2 free throws. So let's just call it a wash. Let's just pretend that Kevin Love got 2 free throws and made them, and DeMar DeRozan got 2 free throws and made them in the Raptors' ball.
Yeah, I mean,
everything's
they
fine.
missed 12 straight shots, and they had chances right there under the basket with put back. So, I mean.
So that is not the reason the Raptors lost. But I understand the frustration, and I do expect tonight we will get a lot of plays reviewed because those referees are not going to want to walk into that twice. Now, there's another situation with Kevin Love that's been brewing. All season, there has been a push-pull between him and Coach Ty Lue about whether he should play the 5 spot. And it's been amazing. They were really, I think, their best winning streak during the regular season was with him playing at center. And yet the entire time, he complained about it, said he was uncomfortable. And, well, he talked about it today. LeBron, actually, I asked about it.
No, obviously, it's a fine line. You know, we've been very successful with Kev at the 5, but we have to listen to what Kev needs as well. You know, so. You know, if there's times throughout the postseason or the game where he's feeling like he's a little worn down because he's battling with a lot of bigs, then we got to, you know, make the substitution properly. You know, and I think Coach Lut's done that. You know, obviously, you know, with the start of Game 7, being able to start Double T at the 5 and allow Kev to kind of, you know, play his natural position. So, you know, we're going to do what's best for the team, but also we want to do what's best for All-Star as well. So, you know, I think the coaching staff have done a great job with that.
First of all, I love LeBron just nicknaming him. We're going to do what's best for All-Star as well. So, it's a nice little confidence
He's called
boost.
him worse.
I was going to say, he doesn't always talk about him that positively, so that's good for Kevin Love. Look, Tristan Thompson has played so well in these games. Tristan Thompson started Game 7, and Kevin was able to move back to that 4 position. But I spoke to Ty Lue about this after their shoot-around this morning. He is convinced that the way Kevin stretches the floor at the 5 is worth it, and that Kevin can be taking advantage of Valanciunas more on the Cavs' offensive end.
Well, it goes hand in hand. Yes, I think this benefits Cleveland in terms of LeBron having shooters spread it around on the perimeter. But also, I mean, it's, Valanciunas is a big body. He could punish Kevin Love on the offensive board and down on the boards and on the block as well, get him in foul trouble, trying to guard Valanciunas down there. So I don't know who is more aggressive and what, matchup really favors their team.
Ty Lue has a method to his madness here. The Cavs averaged more points against the Raptors this season than any other Eastern Conference team. They did that with Love at center. In the second quarter of Game 1, Love was struggling, so they put Jeff Green at center, and they scored 38 points.
Right.
The Cavs are at their best when they play small against the Raptors. I know that there are moments where it looks bad, and Kevin Love's had a rough year. He's had his tooth knocked out. He's got a thumb injury. He's been knocked on the ground 1,000 times. He is bearing the brunt.
Players who are not with the Cavs anymore yell at him.
He's bearing the brunt of it, and he has said, "Look, I don't like playing center, but that is what I will do, and I am paid $100 million, and I will go deal with it." And so they're going to stick with it as long as it works.
Yeah, the thing is, don't give the team the same look. Give them different looks. And if this is an adjustment that they're going to make, then we don't know if they're going to game plan for this. Toronto is probably game planning for something else. So give them another look.
And guys, this is why the Cavs were excited to get to this series. The Pacers had very versatile big men. When you have Thaddeus Young or Domantas Sabonis or Miles Turner, they can play big and small at the same time. They struggled. In this series, the Raptors have more defined big men. Valanciunas isn't as flexible. And so they like that matchup. Poor Kevin Love gets knocked around, but they like it and they feel better. It's one of the reasons why they played better in Game 1.
The other thing I learned at shoot-around this morning, besides this whole Kevin Love, LeBron back and forth, the Cavaliers think that the pressure is on the Raptors tonight. They know that if the Raptors come out and lose this game, they have such an upper hand in this series. And again, it's not just this year's Raptors team. They're going to have to make such major changes to the franchise. You think Dwayne Casey would be
if they get swept, they would be in trouble. And this is a guy who may win Coach of the Year. You know what's crazy, guys? This is a great atmosphere. This is going to be crazy out here in a couple hours. It's a hard place to play. They were the #1 home team in the league this year. The Cavs have won 4 consecutive playoff games here, dating back to 2016. So you think they're going to walk into the building tonight feeling any pressure? Oh, no. They're ready to play. They can't wait to get in this arena tonight.
Not bad if you're the visiting team. I think producer Danny was just in my ear saying we're going to talk about James Harden. So let's talk about James Harden. He smashed
You're
his
still
phone.
the worst flopper in the
I wouldn't say
NBA.
out of a fan's hand because it didn't quite make it out of the fan's hand. But an apparent Jazz fan last night called Harden the worst flopper in the NBA, was obviously trying to get a rise out of him. So, Tracy, was Harden out of line?
Depending on where the phone was in his airspace, if it was right there in front of his face, I think the fan is out of line. But if it's just fans just standing in the stands and holding his phone out and talking to James while he's walking by, then James is out of line. I think the fans think sometimes they could cross that line because we are who we are and can't put our hands on them. But when you cross that line, man, like anything goes.
It is in the absolute definition a line. And earlier this season, one of the Jazz players, now a Cav, Rodney Hood, was fined $35,000, which is a little bit more than an iPhone costs, I think.
Yes, and Russell Westbrook, right, had the incidents with the fans coming off the court just the other night.
And Westbrook was more of an intimidation. He didn't hit the thing. But first off, I think James Harden, if indeed they review this and see that he wasn't in his space, James Harden is going to get fined for it because they've already set the precedent. And frankly, I would say to Utah Jazz fans, this is a Jazz fan, do yourself a favor and keep their phones out of the players' faces. Keep it back a little bit tighter. Don't stick it out there. If you want to call the guy a flopper, look, I get heckled in all these buildings. You've been heckled your whole life. It happens.
But let me help people understand. Like there's a difference than I'm here holding my phone away from you than having it here
in your
holding
like
in my personal space.
That's good.
There's a difference. Like Westbrook say, you wouldn't do that if we wasn't on camera.
I mean, how long did it take you, Tracy, to really be able to block out people yelling people yell some pretty crappy
Especially
stuff
when
at
they came back to
players.
Toronto.
Yeah, there are definitely some nasty things that have been said over the years, but
And it's
I
not
mean,
something you're born knowing. We're human. Like, it's not something you're born being able to block out. So how long into your playing career did it take you to just really ignore it?
I mean, my thing was fans can't come down and play. You know, whoever they're cheering for is about to get it. They're just feuding that feud.
Excellent. Well, we will be back here on The Jump. I realized at the beginning of this segment, make or miss time, make Mamba mentality. Giannis hoping to work out with Kobe this summer. Tracy, you've worked out with Kobe.
I did. I think this will help Giannis's mentality and his footwork. I think Kobe will rub off on him.
How's he going to feel about it maybe a week in, Trace? That's what I want to know. Will he make it to the second week?
Giannis I think he's a guy that wants to learn and get better, so he'll enjoy this.
Kobe will put him to the paces.
I feel like that's actually a good personality match. All right, Miss Walking, Patrick Beverly's mom. Big ups when on Price is Right, she won 2 cars, 41 grand, and a trip to Madagascar.
She was so excited. She was the quintessential Price is Right contestant. She was hopping around the stage. She was gambling on everything. This was so much fun to watch. And I guess Patrick Beverly doesn't have to give his mom anything for Mother's Day.
All I want to know is who those 2 cars going to, because I'm sure the 2 cars that she has are not better than the one she's already driving.
All right, maybe Tracy wants a car. Make incentives. Ty Lue finding his players $100 during this series if they bite on the DeMar DeRozan pump fake. This was your story, Brad.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson said, listen, I've got a new kid. I got to worry about college tuition. I got to keep that money.
You know what Doc Rivers used to do to us when we played Sam Cassell, because he was a pump faker and guys used to jump for it all the time.
It worked. Tristan stayed down.
I mean, guys aren't really thinking about that when they're on the court, are they?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. All right, Miss Subtlety. You've seen Donovan Mitchell's putback dunk, right? You've probably seen it a bunch. But did you notice the reactions in Media Row? Tim McMahon
Our
from our
own
place.
Tim McMahon. Have some decorum. Have some professional responsibility.
Listen here.
Look at it stone-faced like you've seen it before. Is it your first dunk?
No. I jumped out of my seat when this happened. This
Right?
is very impressive.
Points for the Chappelle show hang.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. He knew what he was doing. That kid is a pro. I think maybe we're going to have to start checking his birth certificate or something. I don't know. All right, Miss, or Make, I'm sorry. This is Make Hollywood. I was so excited to see this. Is my favorite part of the show, Tracy McGrady, because we found out you auditioned for the part of Jesus Shuttleworth and he got game.
I did. I walked in there with my suit on, tailored nice, and Denzel was sitting there. So I had a script to read, right? So I was reading this script with Denzel, and this guy goes off the script. So I'm looking like, hold on, that's not on here. So he just started talking to me without reading the
It's
script.
called ad-libbing.
Yes,
Trace.
he was
Listen to you.
Duh. So he went to ad-libbing, and I was lost. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to catch on quick. But that was a great experience. I had fun doing it.
Now, when the movie came out and Ray Allen has the part, were you thinking that could have been me, or were you like, oh, this is cool? I'm good.
I was like, nah, Ray, you did a better job than me. So I was cool with it.
You were towered over Denzel, though. It would have been a tough.
It would have been a different vibe. There's no question about it. We are back here in Toronto. Jurassic Park is behind us. It's going to start filling with fans in the next couple hours because the excitement, anywhere you walk around Toronto, I had 4 different people stop me just on the walk over here asking me about this game. But we do have to talk about one of the other games in the NBA. Joel Embiid, look, he has said he is, quote, unstoppable if he is in single coverage. I mean, it seems like the Celtics were willing to give him his points the other night.
I was going to say, that's the perfect game plan. Let's let Joel get all the touches. Go ahead and score 30 or 40 points. That means we're controlling your shooters. They're getting less touches. And I think the less touches that those guys get, the better chance that Boston has of winning this game.
I think it's right into Brad Stevens' trap,
Yes.
as you said,
Right.
Tracy. Brad Stevens probably go to the media. Oh, man.
Right, we're in
He's
trouble.
right. We can't deal with him. He's the best center since Will
Yes,
Chamberlain.
yes.
I think he should try to go for 40 every
Yes.
night. They clearly tried to stick to the three-point shooters. Philly had a poor three-point shooting game. And frankly, as great as a player as Embiid is, the Sixers are at their best when Ben Simmons is doing the playmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And if the ball's in Embiid's hand in the post, it's not in Simmons' hand to make plays. And that's one of the reasons I think that the Sixers got out of their game plan in Game 1.
Well, there are a lot of people who are picking the Sixers team to go to the finals already, right? Joel Embiid doesn't have much use for them either. This is what he said, quote, 3 to 4 years ago, no one was around. No one was talking about us. I'm like, that's nice, but where was everyone 3 or 4 years ago? So it's nice. I don't really pay attention to it.
Newsflash, you were a part of a team. Well,
They won
about to
10
be
games in
about
one
to be
season.
about to be a part of a team that was tanking, was trying to lose. Who wants to be a part of that? Who wants to cheer for a team that is trying to lose in an 82-game season?
Listen, Joel, I know that you have a point here, but it works to be a popular player when you are bringing people into the
Right,
fold.
right.
If you want them to
Don't
have
push
some
them out.
sort of initiation to get in, something they have to do to show their love, I'm not saying you have to get a tattoo, but some sort of Sixers pledge that they could give, maybe you can suggest that. But welcome them in, Joel. Embrace the love. Don't shun it.
I do actually have a question for you guys on this because I feel like, I mean, look, it's always been there. No one believed in us. That's a real rallying cry. I feel in the last year or two, though, this has been such an important thing for teams and definitely their fans. You hear it from Pacers fans right now. You hear it from Jazz fans. It's sort of like, isn't overachieving a good thing in sports? Isn't being the scrappy underdog fun? I don't know why it's become such a rallying cry to the point of where once we did start recognizing how good the Pacers and Jazz really were, I had fans of those teams say to me, oh, yeah, right. Why are you talking about us now when you didn't talk about us? I'm like, when is it okay to start talking about you?
I think this is a brilliant marketing campaign, but it really wasn't designed to be a marketing campaign. It was sort of like a natural-born marketing campaign, the process.
Right.
The Sixers didn't put the process up on their side of their building. Sam Hinkie mentioned it a couple of times. It started to take hold when Embiid put processing on his Twitter a handle, and that's where it came. It's really more than anything. It's a good rebuild, like many teams have had before, and many teams will have. It's a rebuild with great marketing. That's what it is.
Joe, I mean, try being a part of a franchise where you have to actually build your fans from the ground up, like I was here in '97.
Right.
I mean, this is a hockey town, right?
Yep.
So when
This
we
is
had
a parking lot, Tracy. It wasn't even a paved parking lot. It was gravel.
When we had exciting plays in the Sky Dome, then
Right.
I mean, you heard crickets. Like
Yeah.
these guys didn't understand the game of basketball. So embrace your fans, my brother.
Right. And Pacers fans, Jazz fans, everyone's with you now. Embrace that. Everyone thinks your teams are great. I think everyone should be happy. There we go. I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, though, because they are hoping to interview Mike Budenholzer, the former Atlanta coach, also David Fizdale, Monty Williams, David Blatt, Steve Clifford. This is all from, of course, Woj has the list. Woj has everything first. And, I mean, look, this coaching job is kind of considered the best open one because you've got Giannis, right? No. Brian is saying no.
It's not. Here's the issue with the Bucks job. 1 year from now, owner Wes Edens will turn control over to co-owner Mark Lazary.
This is bizarre, by the way.
And this is a thing within the coaching circles. This has been on the books for 5 years. It was all planned.
It's part of the ownership agreement that they rotate who the primary lead owner is.
That's right.
Which
so
is weird.
And they.
Can someone put me to St. Louis? Cubs Cardinals at 8 on ESPN.
Phillips. Oh, Tracy McGrady. The 18-year-old had a little bit of jumps. He's an athlete, folks. Oh, boy, Tracy McGrady. Oh, wow. Wow. That's just beautiful basketball right there. Tracy McGrady. A thunderous dunk. Tracy McGrady.
That was just a small sample of highlights from T-Mac's Toronto Raptor days. We are having so much fun here. Thank you to our cousins at TSN for letting us borrow their set. We got Jurassic Park. They're almost done setting up. They're going to open it up to the public really soon. Great game tonight. Game 2 at 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And the big question everyone is going to have is LeBron going to have the energy to make it through this game? Because he was tired, Brian, in game 1. All those shots were falling short.
And I know he doesn't like to talk about it, but the cramping that he had on Sunday affected him on Monday, which put him behind for Tuesday. He's feeling better. Got a full night's sleep. Went to bed before the end of Rockets Jazz to make sure he could be rested for this game. The Raptors missed an opportunity when LeBron missed 18 shots and they didn't get the win. Could see a much more energetic LeBron tonight with a couple easy days.
Finally, somebody gets to carry him. He's been carrying these guys for so long. You know, he had an off night. JR, Kyle Korver, and those guys, Tristan Thompson, they did a fabulous job of carrying him. And hopefully he doesn't have to expend that much energy in game 2 just to get a win.
I mean, I love that this is the level of reporting that Brian and I are at. Both of us apparently asked him, all right, so when did you sleep last night? He told me he got 9 hours, so that was big
9
deal.
hours, that's
we'll
good.
To see,
you got the edge there, Rach.
We'll have to see whether that carries over. And obviously it's LeBron. He hit the timely shot when it mattered, but obviously he was not happy with the game he played. The other big thing we got in that game in game 1 is Drake beefing with Kendrick, not that Kendrick Perkins. Do you think that's going to spill over into tonight? Because Drake tried to follow Perk back into the locker room.
Bad idea. He doesn't want to mess with Perk. I know we're in Toronto, but leave Perk alone.
First off, the Cavs have really good security guys.
Yes.
And Drake has security guys. They'd never get near each other. Like, the Cavs security guys are not to be messed with. Perk is not to be messed with. Everybody just stay in your respective corners and enjoy the ball game.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the sideline antics.